Welcome, man. Today, we'll be looking at one of the things that have been plaguing us extremely recently, which is the end of the world. I know since I was born, in the great year of 2009, there has always been talk about the world's gonna end tomorrow, the world's gonna end today. 2012, end of the Mayan calendar, we're all gonna die. You know, and all of these things have sort of been piled on, and then with COVID threatening to end that world, it's just been such an experience over the recent years that it's so hard to look away from when everywhere you look, whether it's on social media to your own family dining room table. Most people are talking about death right now. And so I just want to talk about the probability that the world's gonna end, and whether or not you should be concerned about it. Now, of course, by no means am I a professional, by no means am I telling you this is advice to be sworn by, but I just want to get my opinion out there, sort of, so everybody can hear another voice on it. So, I guess we just sort of get right into it. I think this is the right one. So, recently, two very large hurricanes have happened, and I've been looking at the weather maps, and I've seen another hurricane forming in the Atlantic Ocean. Again, I'm not a meteorologist, but I have seen like the general cloud formation that will indicate that sort of thing. A third one forming out in the Atlantic Ocean. And if you guys have seen anything recently, both of those hurricanes, I'm recording this right before the one will go through Florida, but the one hurricane that's hit so far was catastrophic. And nobody's helping these people. The government seemed to turn a blind eye, which is a whole different issue that we won't be talking about too much. But, and here soon, a whole nother one's gonna come plowing through Florida that threatens to be just as, if not even more destructive than the worst hurricanes we've ever seen. So we'll see how that turns out, but I don't know. It's just sort of, this is not the right thing. It's sort of been a up in your face sort of thing, especially recently. It's everybody's like, oh, we're gonna die. Yellowstone's gonna erupt. Nuclear warfare's gonna happen. All these things. So let's break it down of everything and the probability it's going to end everybody's life as we know it. Of course, things such as the hurricanes. This is still not the right world. Things such as the hurricane will ruin temporarily or whether it's temporary or, gonna last for a bit, we still are yet to see. But the hurricanes, they're gonna temporarily change people's way of life, change their life in some respects. So, those are all things to keep in mind. We should not have bedrock breakers here. Whatever. So, but the hurricanes. These hurricanes are pretty disastrous. I do have to admit. They are some of the worst things we've seen since Hurricane Katrina, and maybe even worse after that. And again, I'm not a professional, but I would say that those probably aren't going to threaten your way of life unless you live right there, like where the hurricane's going to be running through or right beside it. Because sure, it's catastrophic, sure, it's pushing the bounds of what our atmosphere can do, which is wild to think about. But ultimately, life will continue as usual. It'll be, yeah, everybody has to take refuge in all the other 49 states, 48 states that are available. And, that's gonna be that. You're just It's gonna be like Katrina. It's gonna be huge amounts of devastation. It's gonna be terrible for everybody who lives there, don't get me wrong. But it's not going to end the world. Another one to think about. I heard this talk with my friends. So everybody's been saying, oh, Yellowstone's gonna erupt. And there is no real evidence of that actually happening in the future. Like, sure, we have, you know, a couple directives that it might happen, couple things that, like, point towards this is gonna happen soon, but we still have no set in stone evidence that it will happen. So, you know, it's kind of a neither here nor there. Can it happen within the next 80 years when people will still be watching this video? Could it? Yes. Very easily could. But the chances of that happening, you know, small to none. But yeah, so it's like, it's a whole thing of, I think some of those things are a little larger than life problems that I don't really see causing any sort of problem. But again, that's just me personally. You are entitled to your own opinion, but that's just what I think. Another one, I've very much so heard recently about the shift of the magnetic pool of the Earth. And so just for a little bit of context, I'm not sure what the interval is, but every so many years, the Earth will shift the poles. So, like, north will become south, east will become west, you know, sort of that. And it'll cause a bit of change in the way everything works, like, on Earth. Like, the tides of the ocean will change, you know, things like that. And, our atmosphere, it won't fully deteriorate, but it'll become a lot less strong, because that magnetic field is what keeps us from most of the radiation, so that means... Why did that pause? So that'll be a bit of a problem, because I know at least me, I have skin cancer on both sides of my family. So, you know, something like a little higher risk of radiation might be detrimental to me. But again, it's something that's happened before, and life still goes on. You know, might it be, you know, not the greatest thing to happen? Might it be an extreme inconvenience? Might it mean we have to stay inside a lot for a little bit? Yes. And again, I'm not saying any of these aren't inconvenient. I'm just saying, you know, it's not the end. So there's that whole thing. And yes, it's set to happen in 2025, only a year from recording. And whether or not that happens again, we'll see. I'm no fortune teller, nor am I professional in any of the fields I'm talking about. But I just want to sort of get the idea, get you guys thinking, and I want to start a conversation. Because, like, we don't need to just look at all of these things as, like, the end-all, be-all of humanity. Because some of these are just problems we have to take a step back, look at, and find a way to solve. Such as the next one I'm going to talk about here, global warming. And I know this is a bit of a controversial topic, but I don't really see why it is. It happens. We have screwed up as humanity. And I feel like a lot of people are unwilling to accept that, but that's the truth, as blunt as it is. And we have to find some way to not fix, but sort of counteract what we have done. Because there's no fixing it anymore. The damage is done, but we need to make it so that we can sustain ourselves from this point forward. So the problems don't keep getting worse. Because I feel like, yeah, we recognize, okay, there are all these problems. Now let's just not change anything. Because nobody's going to unmelt the ice caps. So every second we lose, every every piece of ice that gets shattered off of the Arctic and Antarctica, it's not going back. Most likely. Again, I'm not a scientist. I'm not 100% sure. But from what I've gathered, we are not getting that second chance that everybody's thinking we get. It's like, oh, we can just let climate change get so bad and then we can just reverse it all. That's not why people are talking about climate change. They're more talking about we have to stop the problem so it doesn't get any worse. There's no making it better. We just don't want to make it worse. But climate change is one of the major existential threats to humanity. And I think we, as a people of this earth, everybody, we need to take a step back, say, what are we doing wrong? And we have to fix it. Is it going to inconvenience a lot of people, myself included? Yes. But might it be required for the survival of our very race? Also yes. Again, I haven't done any of the logistics, I'm just spitballing here. But this is the conclusion I've come to. The next one, nuclear warfare. Now this one, pretty prevalent in the media. I know it's pretty well covered. But yes, nuclear warfare has the capacity to end our world. Do I think it would take a really, really stupid person to end our world in that way? Also yes. But might it happen within our lifetime? Yeah, there's no way of knowing. The unpredictable nature of humans has put us in sort of like a situation where we're just sort of screwed either way. There's no telling whether or not one of these world leaders is going to decide, oh, I don't want the world to exist anymore. And then we'll basically have nothing we can do about it. That's why I will always actively support preventative measures instead of active offense. Like, maybe instead of, you know, building more nukes, we, you know, research technology so that, you know, we can disarm them mid-air or something like that so that that threat becomes less. And that still makes us more powerful. Because if we have the ability to stop that from happening, then their largest super weapons was just, you know, taken away. So, you know, if the American government is watching this, I don't know, maybe a smart idea. Maybe instead of firepower we use intelligence, you know, that thing that won us, you know, the Revolutionary War. But, you know. So, yeah, that's huge threat. Well, we currently, that I know of, don't have any real way to deal with that sort of thing if it were to happen. Now, do I hope it doesn't happen? Absolutely, I'm pretty sure everybody does. But, you know, hoping can only get you so far. So, you know, that's just another thing to think about. Another other thing to think about is, you know, what if we overpopulate the world? This one isn't as common, but it is, you know, pretty prevalent, because we see so many impoverished areas where it's like a, what if this gets worse? Like, we have these examples of horrible things happening throughout the world, but like, what if we lose the small amount that we have? What if more people are born? What if the population does continue to grow and we still don't have the resources? Because, I mean, there is still area in this world to utilize, but I'm not seeing very much of it being utilized. I'm not seeing very many people trying to help. Like, I don't know, I'm just saying that could be a real problem in the future. And I know this is kind of just a, I'm about to go to sleep, like this is just my sleep-deprived rant, you know. But these are just some ideas to think about. These are a bunch of topics that came up. I was talking to my friends today, everybody was like, oh, the world's gonna, I was like, yeah, but not necessarily. Because, sure, global warming, climate change, nuclear warfare, nature could end our life on this earth whenever. There has never not been that threat. It just, that threat is amplified by social media, politics, everything that's using fear to drive you. And fear is, I've learned in my efforts in writing, which I'll make a video about soon, that fear is a very strong, very human emotion that basically strips us of our intelligence. Because if you're afraid something will happen, you'll stop thinking logically. I've seen it a lot of times in the general population, and I feel like fear is a tool that's being a bit overutilized in our economy. Not economy, what am I saying? In our world. Because it's very much so a point where now you just have everybody locked in this constant fear cycle, so that everybody's too, afraid to do anything, and, then nothing gets done. And then the problems keep getting worse. So, again, more things to think about. But, I don't have all the answers. There are changes that need to be made for us as a society to continue on much longer past my lifetime. But, what can I, as one lonely YouTuber, sitting on this platform, ranting into the screen do? And the answer is not much. A grand total of 50 people will probably end up watching this video. And a grand total of 3 of those people will make it actually to this part. And I thank whoever's here. Again, this is all according to channel averages. But what is doing this really going to change? And my answer is nothing. This is all stuff that is already a problem. I'm just trying to bring it to the attention of more people, so that maybe those 3 people who get to this point will start thinking and start saying, hey, maybe this kid has a point, maybe we should start changing. And maybe that's 2 more people who stop using plastics. That's 2 more people who will slow down the rate of global warming. 'Cause, sure, it's going to take a lot more than just 2 people to slow down global warming, but you have to start somewhere. And I feel like I'm not trying to play on your fear. I'm trying to give you hope that this thing that everybody's saying is the end doesn't have to be. You just have to put a little effort in. And then, this whole end-all be-all apocalypse doesn't have to be so apocalyptic. This doesn't have to be the topic of discussion at the lunch table. This doesn't have to be everybody's main concern at the family dinner. This could just be something that we take 5 minutes out of our day and change the world for the better. And every step towards a better tomorrow helps. So, that's basically all for me. As soon as I get this relic to the top, that's all my thoughts. If you would like to watch any more of my videos, I would highly suggest liking and subscribing. I do have a couple cool videos in more this style in the works, and I have a couple more Destiny 2 build videos in the works. I do still have the Titan and Hunter best support builds. Hunter's really stumping me. Hunter support build, I know. I have a video planned about how to write, because I've been learning how to write. All these interesting things that I've been trying to do and trying to put out to you guys as the community. Again, trying to write. Here's my 25 pages of thing I've been trying to write. Based on my podcast that you can no longer listen to, and that is a good thing. But that has been all for me today. I hope this really got you thinking. If you made it this far in the video, thank you. It means the world to me. And I guess I just might see you in the next one. Bye.